Hello, this is Devin Easterlin from SJA Property Management, and this is another edition of Landlord's Corner. Today we're going to talk about a scary word, evictions. So the eviction process is really pretty simple if done correctly. And really what you're using this for is to remove a tenant that is in violation of a major lease term. So what you want to do, the first step is to serve a notice. This notice needs to be either a 3-day notice or a 10-day notice. A 3-day notice would be used for something like non-payment of rent. A 10-day notice would be used for other lease violations such as unauthorized pet or something like that. After that notice has been served and the 3 or 10-day time period has expired, you want to do an occupancy check or verify that the tenant has in fact remedied the violation, such as paying rent or removing the unauthorized pet. If they are still in the property and they have not remedied the violation, you would want to move on to the summons and complaint. This would be served to the tenant. The tenant would then get a response time where they can choose to argue the arguments that you're making and present their own evidence. Most times the tenants choose not to respond, and the judge will then issue a writ, which is basically just a judgment that explains that the tenant needs to move out of the property. You would then take that writ and post it on the door. The sheriff would actually do that for you. Once that's posted on the door, the tenant has 3 days to remove all of their items and get out of the property. If they don't get out in those 3 days, then the sheriff comes and does a physical eviction. So the timeline for all of this is as little as about 3.5 weeks if the tenant doesn't respond and you just go through the process. However, if the tenant does respond, it can go out to around 6 weeks. And you got to be really careful, because if you do anything incorrectly in this process, such as your process service wasn't correct or your lease wasn't valid, something like that, you might have to start all the way over again. So you want to be really careful about that. But really what you're doing when you're renting out property and finding tenants are finding ways to keep you out of having to do an eviction. And there's a couple simple ways that you can do that. We utilize them here at SJA and they work with great effect. So the first one is you want to make sure that you're doing a proper screening of the tenant. You want it to be completely comprehensive so you know who you're putting in your property. Here at SJA, for example, we screen for credit, employment, rental history, criminal record, rent-to-income ratio, and debt-to-income ratio. So it's pretty comprehensive, but we want to get a good feel for those tenants and make sure that there is a high probability that they're going to pay on time and also protect the property. The next thing that you want to do is make sure that your leases are valid and that they're executed properly. You want to make sure that you go through the lease in detail with the tenants so they understand what's a lease violation. They understand that you're going to be enforcing this document, and this is really going to govern the time that they're spending at the property, throughout the lease term. The next thing you can do, and which is really important, and I see a lot of landlords that do self-management don't follow this last step, and that is enforce the lease consistently and timely. So if there is a lease violation, you want to make sure that you're serving your notices quickly, you're adhering to your late fee policy, you're really being very consistent and fair. And by doing that, it sets a really good precedent. So that means that the tenant understands that, okay, this is a business relationship, and that if I don't fulfill my end of this business relationship, I'm going to be removed from the property. And just by doing that, you'll find that tenants are much more apt to pay rent on time and to take good care of the property and adhere to the lease terms. So that's how we operate here at SJA Property Management. We're very fair and balanced, but at the same time, we really do enforce the 4 corners of that document, and it keeps us out of a lot of this process, a lot of these heartache, and it's really better for the tenants and owners as well. If you'd like some more information about the eviction process or how we handle it here, any advice, I'm happy to give it. Feel free to contact me directly. Again, my name is Devin Easterlin with SJA Property Management. Thank you.